Hello, and I bet if you're watching this and you've ever ran a Fanuc robot before, this has happened to you. So I have a job here. I hit forward. All right. And oh shoot, I picked the wrong job. So I'm going to go over to another job, hit enter, and if you hit start and function and forward, what happens? Run request fail. Because this is where you have to remember, oh, what do I do? Oh, function abort all. And then hit reset, and then I have to go through things. But what if I could tell you that you could do that with a push of one button rather than function abort all? Because maybe you don't remember. And just to demonstrate, I'm going to go back to that job. And if I hit Tool 2 and hit Shift Reset, I should be able to run this job. Oh wait, that was magic. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go do another job. And I'm going to hit Tool, hit Shift Reset, hit forward, and now I can run it like crazy. Is this magic? No, this is one of the benefits of using user alarms. And let's talk about how to set up a user alarm and what this magic is. And in theory, you don't need to do it for this purpose. You can do this for helping safeguard your program. If there's a certain thing that you want to have happen every time an event takes place, you can do that, and you can set that up using user alarms. Because, we can't have too many alarms to keep us safe. But let's talk about how we set these things up. And typically, and the one that I'm running is actually a macro that I set up, and we'll go through the whole process. But where you set up user alarms, it's in the variables. So the first things first is you have to go into System and got to go into Variables. Okay, and what we're going to look for is the variable that is this UALRM underscore message and UALRM underscore severity. Because what you're going to need to do is set up in a predetermined table what you want the alarm to say and what you want the severity of it is. So if you click on the string, that just means there's a list. And look, when I run this job, look what shows up right here. Abort all. Well, that goes in right there. If I wanted to, I could change this and say, this is magic. All right, because it's a string. And now if I run this job, or not tool 2, look what shows up there. So you can have anything in there that you want. And it's just got to put it in there. It's just it's a string of text, okay? And you can have up to 10 user alarms. And if I hit previous out, I can also change the severity of each user alarm. And so here I have it as 43. That's a magic number. But I can do it as 0. And if I run this job, nothing happens. It's just a warning. If I hit reset and for F2, look, a warning just comes up. So nothing happens. Things will keep going, but maybe something you want to draw your attention, like, are you sure? And it will show up here. And all these user alarms are going to be categorized as INTP 213 of some type. So, but what numbers, what's these magic numbers you say? Well, I'm glad you asked. So let me put this back into and then, because I pulled all this up right here and did a little, I'm going to move my face over here so you can see. But here is the kind of the breakdown of user alarms. And you might see a trend here. If you put 0 in there, no action will take place. Okay? If you just put a 2 in there, then when that alarm command executes, then it's going to pause the program. If you put a 3 in there, it's going to abort with error. 4 is going to stop any program motion. And 6, which is a combination of 2 and 4, will pause the program and stop motion. 8 will cancel program motion up right there and then and there. And 10, which is a combination of 8 and 2, will pause the program and cancel motion. 11, a combination of 3 and 8, will abort the program and cancel program motion. Okay? Now, you can get a little more creative. If you add 16 to any one of these numbers, it'll also turn all the servos off. Add 32. It'll also cause the action to apply to all programs and all motions, not just the one you're running. So kind of a blanket, universal. Add 64 and you require a cold start to reset the controller. So remember, in some things, sorry about the typo in there, I was typing fast. It will require, so hey, if this triggers, you'll have to physically restart the controller, because in some cases you have to do that, depending on the severity of the alarm. And this is something that you can do in a user alarm. So for instance, what I was doing earlier, I was aborting all program and canceling all motion. So I was combining 11, so aborting the current program and canceling all current program motions, and doing that to all the programs and motions that in the controller as a catch-all. And that's what was happening with that user alarm. Okay. And if we wanted to, just to kind of, we could play around with this, and I'm going to throw this out here. Let me move things around. Move my face back down over here in the corner. And if I go back into menu and variables, I'm going to go back menu and variables, system and variables, sorry. So I could put a 2 into this, and we could run this, and if I hit F2, it just, it's giving me an error because the macro is running because it's a motion job. Okay? But I'm going to put 43 back in there. And it still says this is magic, but how do we actually do this? And that is, you're going to have to create a new job. So we got to go in and let's edit, go in and select and hit create. And we got to create a job. So keyboard, new job. Okay. Hit enter. But here's the important thing. Go into detail, and you will need to change the group mask to a star. Okay. So you could go in here and change that to a star. You can put a comment in here, but make sure that's a star because you need to make sure it's a non-motion type. If you want to already call it a macro in here under subtype, you can call it a macro so that you can run it. And since it's a non-motion job, you can run it off on the normal user keys. Okay. And so I hit end, and now I'm in my job. So how do I execute one of these user alarms in my program? Well, that's under instruction and miscellaneous. U alarm, and then whatever number we just set up. So I'll put U alarm number 1. And if I run this job here, new job, hit shift forward, guess what? It ran just fine. And if I want to make it a macro, I can just go to setup, macros, and see I already got one here. I can change this to impress. I can change this to impress boss. Go in here, choice, and I can find the program. What do I call it? New job, I think. Or just put in type, where is it? Previous. I got created, so. Macro, click on macro and new job. And then you can change the user key. So user key, because it's not non-motion, I can do user key 3. And now if I hit the move menu, hey, there it is. Because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. These macro keys are right here. So that's how you set up user alarms. And you can get creative with you, but keep in mind, this is our kind of our setup here that you need to be aware of when dealing with user alarms. But that's how you would set one up, run one, put one in your program, because sometimes you're running a program, you may want just to stop the program motion if certain conditions are true. So if I can go into back to my teach pendant, go back to my teach pendant, hit edit. So just for demonstration purposes, you could just do if if DI1, DI32 is on, call, function abort all. And that could be your user alarm job, and then you can just have that user alarm in there that you can draw to different programs, or you can have it in your program if you jump over it and don't execute it until you need to. So, but this are some options that you could do, and user alarms can be fun, and it's just another thing of programming. So, hope this was helpful. Have a good day.